Okay, just about ready to get started. If I could ask just a housekeeping item, if I could ask everyone, if you wouldn't mind, to just mute your phones. That way, any background noise. I know we're all busy in our offices. Any background noise won't carry through onto the webinar. But I will just welcome everyone. I'm Carol Ashburn. I'm the Director of Marketing for Prophesy Transportation Solutions. And I'd like to welcome you and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us for our Webinar Wednesday presentation. Today we'll be taking an inside look at an exciting new integration we have here at Prophesy. Our Dispatch Series software now works with the popular SaferWatch carrier monitoring service. It provides our brokerage users with real-time data on the carriers that you work with. So our presenters today are Kevin Pasternak. He's our National Sales Manager here at Prophesy, and Kathy Daly. She's the Marketing Manager at SaferWatch. And they're going to give you an overview of how the systems work together for your benefit. To have Matt McMillan, Vice President of Beeline Logistics, on the line. He's kindly agreed to join us today to share his personal experience of using the SaferWatch integration with Prophesy Dispatch in his brokerage business. And we have quite a bit to share today, so without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Kevin to get things started.
Thank you, Carol, and I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for joining us today. When we started out looking at integrating to a that we could bring the Prophesy system to help you with your care compliance, we talked to a number of different vendors. And we did partner with SaferWatch because we felt that they were not only the best partner for us, Prophesy, but that they provided the best product for you, our customer. And we put them because they are a provider of best-in-class carrier compliance and risk management data. The data integrated into Prophesy Dispatch system will help ensure that when you assign a carrier to a load, that automatically behind the scenes you're performing due diligence and ensuring that the carrier that you're assigning is in full compliance. What I'd like to do today to start out with is I'd like to Kathy Daly, the Marketing Manager from SaferWatch, to take a few minutes and to tell a little bit about SaferWatch and the services that they provide. Kathy?
Ken, I thought that I could have more than a few minutes, so I thought you said 20 minutes. Is that right?
No.
To better understand carrier risk management and Prophesy Dispatch, it's my objective this afternoon to give you a very brief overview of the SaferWatch software and a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. But, first and foremost, why SaferWatch and why this attention to management? For a fact that you wouldn't be right now if mitigating your risk or your exposure to risk wasn't of first and foremost top interest. You've worked hard building your business, building your clientele to risk losing it because carriers you put on a load was out of compliance, and you should have known about it. So SaferWatch is simply, if I can make it simple, software for transportation brokers and shippers who are committed to best practices for carrier risk management. The SaferWatch is something that Kevin just mentioned, and that's where I like to begin when I'm describing our software. SaferWatch is, simply put, the most constantly updated epic data on the carrier from multiple government sources. Sources include the FMCSA for authority status and insurance compliance, DO, or what you know as SAFER, for safety rating, out of service or inactive statuses on the DOT side, and company details, the state management system for CSA basics data, and our fourth source of data isn't necessarily a government source, but it is key, and it is the ABEST directory, which gives you the financial stability of the insurance providers that are insuring the carriers that you wish to hire. offers, in addition to this solidation of updated data, SaferWatch offers state-of-the-art tools for carrier evaluation. One of the key tools is something that we call carrier risk rules, and they simply are configurable filters or rules that you can set in SaferWatch based on what constitutes desirable and safe carrier according to your business. So at SaferWatch gives you these carrier risk rules, which are very, very flexible. We do not build a box and ask you to jump into it. We give you the tools to create your own architecture. SaferWatch provides data then for a carrier, either in the SaferWatch application or through dispatch. The carrier risk rules that you've set will be applied. So, for example, if the carrier meets your rules, they will be checked green or given a green light. We like colors, and visual. Or conversely, if any of your rules have been breached, then you may set a medium flag for warning your team, or perhaps a red high-risk flag for stop or prevent. The integration then between Prophesy Dispatch and SaferWatch actually see carrier compliance warnings and alerts for carriers that have followed your acceptable safety standards. And then according to your settings, you can warn or prevent from assigning a load based on these carrier risk rules. SaferWatch also provides many additional tools meant for carrier research and evaluation when looking at a carrier for the first time, and Dispatch offers a very easy interface to the rest of those tools. The monitoring component of SaferWatch basically offers you the ability to create a watch list of carriers that you use directly in Dispatch, so right from your dispatch. And then Watch constantly and perpetually checks all of your carriers across all data fields every day for that may affect your business and your ability to make good, safe decisions. The eyes in the back of your head and the nudge in your side, if a compliance issue,
that's the one
allow you to be able to manage any issues in advance.
Yeah.
The best part of, monitoring in Dispatch is that Dispatch automatically updates carrier records with any safety or insurance changes. So basically, SaferWatch, kind of as a recap, is constantly updated data. That's the foundation, and pulled into your Dispatch software. It offers due diligence tools to help you identify risky carriers, and SaferWatch monitors your carriers for changes that, quite frankly, may put your business at risk. Experts, I always like to share this, but industry experts consistently share best practices for due diligence, begin consistent process for carrier evaluation and compliance across all stakeholders in your business. And the SaferWatch module in your Prophesy Dispatch provides this very rock-solid foundation for best practices for risk management. My SaferWatch overview.
Thank you very much for that, for the overview, and also talking a little bit about the integration. We will do a QA session towards the end of the presentation today. So if anybody does have any questions for Kathy, if you could hold those to the end, I would certainly appreciate it. A little bit on what Kathy said as far as what the integration that we set out to do with SaferWatch was. We certainly wanted you a way to automatically bring the data from SaferWatch into the Prophesy system so that you could set up carriers quickly and more efficiently than the way you do it today. We also wanted to give a way for that data to be automatically updated on some type of a timer basis. In addition, the data that comes in and is sitting in the Prophesy dispatch system, we want to ensure that when you did assignments of carriers and when you changed the status of loads from assigned to en route, that you were dealing with the most accurate data possible. And we set up the integration so that we dynamically go out and we check the SaferWatch database at time of assignment and when the load is marked en route. And then to add the conflicts and warnings that Kathy talked about a little bit in the program of warning you of situations that cause an issue. And we wanted to log all this information so that if there was an incident or accident down the road, that you had a log that you could go back and produce to show that, yes, you did your due diligence. So what I would is take a couple minutes and let's look at the addition to SaferWatch that we did with the Prophesy dispatch. So let's start today by going to a carrier file. So we'll go to carriers. And those of you using the system today know that if in your current system, if you want a carrier, you would simply click Edit, and you would start keying in all of the information about that carrier consuming. When you watch module, you'll still maintain carrier, but you'll notice a new icon here that says Add from SaferWatch. You'll click the icon, you can see this pops up, and it's asking me for a carrier ID. I'm going to enter my carrier ID and enter either the end of the carrier or the D number. Push it. The system automatically goes out to the SaferWatch database and brings that information. And we're in their database real time. This is a live demonstration, so just what you saw is the performance that you should certainly expect in your system. Now, what are we bringing back? Well, you can see it brought back the address information, the city, the state, the phone number. Back the OT number if you didn't enter that, or the MC number if you didn't enter that number. Notice that in the version of software that I'm using today, we've added who added the carrier, the date that the carrier was added. There's a couple of fields that some of you may not see now is the number of loads that you pulled for the carrier, and you can also calculate the on-time percent as you use this carrier down the road. There's a button at the bottom of the carrier file called SaferWatch. And as I talked about the different colors, I'm going to throw a new color out there. I'm going to throw yellow out there. Kathy talked about green and go and red and stop. Well, yellow is our caution color. So let's go through information down here, the SaferWatch safety-related data that's automatically brought in. Well, there's something called the SaferWatch Overall Carrier Risk Indicator that Kathy alluded to, and that's based on settings that you configure within the SaferWatch program, evaluate each carrier, whether they have low risk, medium risk, or a high risk. If it was a risk carrier, it would say low, and the color would be green. Medium, as in this case, you can see is yellow, and if it was a high risk, it would be red. More often than not, if it's a red carrier, you're going to configure your system if they're a high risk and red that you would not be assigning them to a load. We are bringing in the CSA basics. And what you can see, if the CSA basics are at an acceptable level, it's displaying green. If they're at an acceptable level, it's displaying in red. The carrier satisfactory, conditional, unsatisfactory. If there's no rating, it would simply say not rated. Satisfactory green, conditional yellow, unsatisfactory would be once again. Their common contract authority. Active or inactive. If it's active, it's green. If it's not active, it's going to be red. I don't want to know, does this carry brokerage authority in addition to their trading authority? And we would simply say if they do, we would say active. If they don't, we would say that it's inactive. Is their authority in service or out of service? If it's in service, you can see it's green. If they did authority, well, then it would be red. And what's the size of their fleet, and that will be displayed within a range. You can also click this button over here, and that will bring you directly to the SaferWatch site, and you'll see the detailed report on that carrier. If this carrier that you already had in your system, and you were looking at the carrier file, and you wanted to do a manual refresh, let's get the most up-to-date information right now. We could click on the refresh button, it would hit the SaferWatch site and bring back the most current data. And you see that the date, the last time this data was refreshed, is displaying right here in the file. About the SaferWatch watch list. Add this carrier to the watch list, you would simply click Add, and it would be added to the watch list. When you're adding individually, this is a very handy way to do it. There's also, if you're an customer already, you've got several hundred or 1,000 carriers in your database, as we've seen from many customers using the module already. Well, there is another way to go in and add like all of your carriers or as many of your carriers to the watch list at once to manage that process. Talk a little bit more about the watch list and how we use that in just a few minutes. Information that we're bringing in from SaferWatch is the insurance information. And the insurance information that we bring in today includes DIPD, bond, and insurance information. We do cargo information because, as I'm sure most of you know, back in March of 2011, the FMCSA no longer required that motor carriers file proof of cargo insurance policies, unless, of course, you're in the household goods or household goods and you're a freight forwarder. However, a lot of that information is still on file with the FMCSA, so it would be out of date. And we don't want to bring in information from SaferWatch that may be give the most accurate information. So we chose not to bring in cargo insurance at all. What you do, and you will notice that this screen is now broken into two halves. The half of the screen, we're seeing the data that's coming in directly from SaferWatch. The half of the screen, and the bottom half cannot be modified. The top screen is data that you would manually key in. So when you get your cargo insurance information from your carrier, you can simply click on Modify the way you do today in your Prophesy system and add that information into the carrier file. The thing I'd like to talk about is a few of the preferences that are involved with setting up the SaferWatch integration and carrier conflicts that we've added. Because we talked about, not only did we want to bring this data into Prophesy so we could easily add carriers to the system, but we want the system to help you manage your due diligence. And so we've done some logic and some decision making behind the data. The fact is there's a preference if you want to bring in insurance information or not. So if you do this, which most people don't, it wouldn't even bring in any insurance information. If for some reason you don't want to do the real-time checking, i.e., when you assign the carrier to a load, you don't want us to dynamically go out and check the SaferWatch database, or change the status of a load from assigned to en route, you don't want us to check it. You can check this and we won't do it. Would anybody want to check that? Well, if you're in an area and you don't have really good internet access, you could get a performance issue that could slow down that process, so that would be a reason why. There's two ways to poll for new alerts and to refresh the data. The first one is one that we suggest you set to run once a day. That is updating the carriers that you've added to your SaferWatch watch list. And that automatically, when the first person logs into the system whose preference set, run that. You can and manually run it by clicking Run Now, and it would update all the carriers that are on your watch list. Suggest that you do a full system refresh once every 30 days, and that's how I have mine set to once every 30 days. And you can see that that was run today as well. A full refresh will go through all the carriers in my system and update the information. Importantly, we do not update contact information, the address, the phone numbers. We're only updating that information that you saw in the carrier file that was in the SaferWatch radio button area, the insurance information. I'm going to click, and I'm sure you are familiar with the side of this screen where you can set up conflicts relating to different things like drivers or carriers, insurance, and registration information. On the right side, you can see that we've added a new box that relates to conflicts and warning preventing of conflicts for Watch. And all of the items in here are ones that we've already reviewed in basics: unsafe driver fatigue, driver fitness, controlled substance, vehicle maintenance. And you'll see all those. You can set it to either prevent if it's in the red, meaning it's not acceptable, or warn if it's not acceptable, or you certainly set it to ignore. Most basics will leave these at warn. However, when we come down to things like their authority, if the authority is not valid, you can see my system is set to prevent the assignment. If the key of service, my system is set to prevent the assignment. Safety rating is conditional, or it will warn an assignment. And then we also tie into the carrier risk indicator, meaning go ahead and ignore it, or if it's not okay, meaning it's not prevent it. But if you put medium, as long as it's at a level, it will let you go ahead and assign that carrier. Once you implement the module, certainly one of our implementation training consultants will go over all of these settings with you. Let's and since we've already seen how we can add a carrier, and we've been through the preference settings and seen how those conflicts can be set, let's go ahead and take a look at the system and see how that would actually work if I was trying to assign a carrier. So I'm just going to pick this load, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up my carrier list. And we can see the column that says I. Now, before you add the SaferWatch integration, the I simply stood for insurance, and it gave you insurance information. And it was yellow, that meant that you were in a warning situation. The insurance was going to expire. If it was red, it meant the insurance already expired, and that was the only thing that was used for. Well, when you use SaferWatch integration, we now are going to bring all of those additional conflicts that I just reviewed with you and display information as well. So, for instance, we can see bulk express is yellow, and if I put my cursor over the yellow X, you can see the SaferWatch driver fatigue alert is in a warning situation, and SaferWatch overall carrier risk indicator alert is in a warning situation. You can also see today's date, 11/14/12, which means the last time this information was updated was today. So if I click on the bullet, drag up a carrier, the system automatically, when it hit the SaferWatch database and verified at that time that this situation still existed, that the fatigue alert was still in a warning and the overall carrier risk indicator was in a warning. It may have found that, hey, their authority had been away since the last time the system had been updated this morning. If I want to assign the carrier, I could say yes. I'm not going to assign it, so I'm going to say no. Let's now come to MK Express. We can see a red X. And with X, we can see that the items that would prevent us from assigning this carrier to a load. We have the SaferWatch Common Contract Authority Alert and the overall carrier risk indicator alert are above our acceptable standards. I know which is going to prevent it because there's an asterisk in parentheses next to the item that's an issue. So if I click on MK, drag it up, and assign it, once the system went out to verify that situation still exists, it did, and came back, and it simply tells me, based on my settings, I cannot assign this carrier to this load because this situation exists. The last thing I want to show you today is the log kept. And you can, under reports, right under your activity log, there's a new log called the SaferWatch activity log. And that you do in the system related to SaferWatch back in this log. You see here the last two things that I did. One, I went ahead and I was going to assign bullet to the load, but then I decided to cancel. The user canceled that assignment. And this is an issue that existed. There was a fatigue drop alert and a risk indicator alert. MK Express, I was going to assign that to load 4149. The system prevented the assignment of that carrier because there was a driver fatigue and authority preventing it and risk indicator preventing it. This information will be kept in the system, and you can always go back. There's filters that you can run if you're looking for information on specific loads, and of course you can print this information out.
That's a little different. Scott always circles Oscar or Norfolk in the center. I mean, you guys like to pick first.
I'd like to do now is I'd like to bring in Matt McMillan, president of B Logistics. Worked with for the initial release of the SaferWatch integration, and was one of the first customers to actually go live with it. And it's going to take a couple minutes to talk about his experiences with the Prophesy dispatch software and more specifically with the integration to SaferWatch. Matt?
Hey, let me know if you can't hear me, but yeah, and Kevin and Kathy, they pretty much summed it up really well, and they put together a great product, and we definitely utilized it to the fullest before we got this integration. Obviously, we were spending an enormous amount of time sorting through paperwork, getting printouts of everything off of the SaferSys website, filing that away to make sure that we're covered from a negligent hiring standpoint. And I mean, pretty much our carrier relations manager was pretty much spending their entire time rather than focusing on what they should be, which is making sure our carriers are happy and making sure that we're getting our paperwork in and the process is running smoothly. Once this engine went through, we were able to eliminate going to the SaferSys website and review all their CSA basic scores on when we could pull it up in Prophesy when we're adding a carrier, because we can technically add any carrier we want, whether they're going to be used or not. That's up to our set in Prophesy and SaferWatch to determine if we're going to use them or not on any given day. So we did the process of going out into the SaferSys website and getting all the printouts and then scanning the system. This keeps track of it so that we look in a big way from a negligent hiring standpoint. If someone back and says, hey, you hired and they shouldn't have been hired, well, we know the ones we hired and what we hired based on our settings that we're setting in here. So we know that we're never going to hire somebody that's conditionally rated carrier or an unsatisfactory rated carrier because we got in here and Prophesy and SaferWatch are going to the integration protects us against that, utilizing our settings. So that's one of the major things that we do, and it was easy from a standpoint than a time issue going out at the original get-go of setting up a carrier and checking everything on the website. But you use a carrier or 5 times a day, every day, 7 days a week, it's hard to get a dispatcher to check and make sure that they're checking the internet every time that they use a carrier and every day that they use a carrier to make they're still in compliance with our and this allows us to not have to worry about that. The computer that actually now does that for us. So that's another big deal. Other than the time from setting up a carrier, we also get the additional resource of the system checking it every time we use the carrier. Also get to see a lot of the things we can. I mean, actually was working with Kathy the other day. She was helping me sort through how to make sure we don't use with a serious violation on any of their basics. So I mean, it can drill down pretty far and find out anything you want about that carrier in terms of the CSA basic scores to make sure you're not using anybody you don't want to. But we use it from a time standpoint. Saves a lot of time. Pretty much saves the whole person. And we also use it for a negligent hiring standpoint, making sure that our policies are enforced. To rely on a person to make sure that they're checking a carrier every single time they're using him. We have something that's foolproof in our eyes. So pretty much those are two main things we do, and it's really helped us out a lot. And Kevin and Kathy have done a great job putting the product here and help out a lot. And I know it takes the weight off our shoulders. So. If you guys have any questions for me, I would to answer anything. If anybody has any questions on product now, or if they're looking to get the product need any questions answered, I'd be glad to answer anything.
I'm here longer than I know whatever. I'll tell you what.
Matt, thank you very much. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and I also want to thank you for the input that you've had in the development of the integration to SaferWatch and the suggestions that you've made that have already been incorporated, and a number of the suggestions that you've made that are in the process of being incorporated into the integration. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kevin.
To review, I mean, what we've done and what we talked about today, we want to do a way to get carriers into the system easily, make sure that information was updated in a timely manner. We alert you for issues with carriers that didn't meet your safety requirements. And alerting you to that, I want to go back and just highlight one thing that Matt talked about that I don't think can be highlighted enough. And that's the everyday carrier, the carriers that they use on a regular basis, that he gets into these, we do things and we don't necessarily check everything that we should check. And I had an existing customer that I talked to just the other day that I said, hey, how's it going with the SaferWatch interface? How do you like it? And he said, Ken, I love it, but some of my dispatchers hate it. And why? What's wrong with it? What's it not doing? And he said, oh, it's doing exactly what it should do. And it's what they don't like about it, because there's some carriers that we've been using that we've been checking on their safety ratings. And we found out that they had some ratings that were conditional. And we have a company policy that says that we shouldn't be using a carrier with a conditional rating. And so the distributors were just upset that now they had to go out and find new carriers to cover loads that they're carrier for all along. So, I don't think we can emphasize that enough. And, of course, we're keeping that information on file. We're logging all that information in the system, so if there is an incident or accident, that it's right there. I would like to open it up to anybody if there are any questions at this point on the Prophesy Dispatch integration with SaferWatch. Okay. Hearing none today. I'm glad that we could answer everything and cover everything that you want to know about the issue with SaferWatch. I would like to certainly thank Kathy Sardelli from SaferWatch for the time that she has spent with us today, and a special thank you to Matt McMillan from B Logistics for taking the time to be with us today. If you'd like more information on the software, the integration to SaferWatch, you can reach me at the number on the screen or the email address on the screen, or you can contact your UC representative directly. Once again, thank you all much for attending today, and have a pleasant afternoon.